morning, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome back to some Club 100 racing, this time for round 8 at a very wet and slippy Llandow in the south of Wales. And we're going to jump straight into heat number 1, where we'd managed to pull ourselves on pole for the random draw in the heatiest heat of death that I've had for a long time. Many quick boys in this one, and it's going to be my aim to try and stay in front of them for as long as possible, hopefully the whole race, but with the level of drivers in this one, that was going to be a tall order. But I managed to get a pretty decent start off of the slippy surface, and it's an interesting start line here at Llandow. The actual start line's on a bit of a kink towards the left, so you've got to really make sure you time it well, even if you're the pole sitter, to make sure that you don't lose out to the anti-pole side of the grid. But as we come onto the back straight here, going into the chicane, really trying to make sure getting that first curb and keeping it tight around that second one, avoiding this third one, otherwise it seemed to kick the back out. And then I was looking at the shoulder there, the rear wants to light up over a slightly heavier patch of water on the circuit, and that would be still leading after the first lap. But we'll jump forward a little bit here, going into the double right-hander here. Missed the apex on the first, managed to get it on the second one, but the not particularly great line in the first parts allowed James Small to get nice and close, and he is able to put it up the inside of McVerter's, and then going down towards this really fun corner in the wet and the dry, able to get it much better than I was, gets the curb and maintains slightly better corner speed. And you can see there he's already pulled out a bit of gap, gets the curb, but I go a little bit too quick, and that puts me a little bit wide coming through the right-hander, compromises me through the left-hand part of the chicane, and then coming onto the back straight, really not able to get the best of drives off, and that's allowed Adam Nather and Adam Wright to have a little bit of a sniff up the inside. Well, a bit more than a sniff for Adam Nather. He gets it fully along the inside, and Adam Wright has a go as well, but has to tuck back in, held it a bit too tight, and I was able to keep more momentum around the final hairpin. Going into the hook, the first chicane though, go a little bit too deep, probably should have kept it slightly tighter, knowing that Adam was so close behind, and even though it slows him down by keeping it close to the apex, he's able to get the position on me, and then it just keeps coming. Can't even stop giving up position at this point, as Carl Walker says, well, I'll have a little bit of that if don't mind. I'll make it 4 positions in less than a lap. And you can see how much time has been lost to James, who's now currently leading, going through the kink right as we speak. But the mid-race was pretty quiet. Eventually sort of found the pace, but yeah, the first half, 3/4 of the race just wasn't quite quick enough. But as we look ahead, we can see Adam and Kyle going together. Kyle goes a bit wide, puts some tyres on the grass, that drags him off, and as he tries to come back on, has a spin round and has a look at all of the drivers coming his way, and they're so close together, he probably took quite a while to be able to get himself back facing the right way round, lest he risk having an unsafe release or unsafe rejoin penalty. And that would be 4th in race 1, which isn't a bad return considering that was a very treacherous heat indeed, with some very quick boys in that one. As we skip ahead to race number 2, this is our mid-start, I want to say, for this one, on the pole side of the grid again, and here trying to carry speed around the outside, but not able to cut it back and utilise that deeper entry, as the drivers on the inside are able to carry a bit more. And Adam Nather there getting a bit over the curb and a bit sideways, and luckily able to keep it together, because it would have been very easy to drop it in conditions such as these. We saw Kyle, as he was getting back onto the circuit in the previous heat, ended up going around. It would have been all too easy for Adam to do the same there, but he keeps it facing the right way, and we keep trying to move forward as well, having had not the best of starts up to this point. Managed to go up the inside there of Mo Hassan and Gredoff, and we're going 3 wide into the chicane, able to just about come out of that one okay, but Mo's got the preferred inside line coming onto the back straight here, and he's now got Adam Nather pushing him along in the slipstream there, going down the main straight, as we're confined to the outside near the tyre wall that lines the back straight here at Llandow, and tried to cut back on Adam, but just get a little bit too much of a slide on. I think there was a little tap from Glenn behind as well, but it wasn't anything too malicious, but it did put us into the back of Adam Nather, put him sideways a little bit, and I had to get out of it to avoid spinning him round, as Glenn tried to go up the inside of Adam. Not going to work there, and that possibly gives me an opportunity to have a look up the inside, which I do, and I end up running wide and just completely balls it up there, straight into the side of Glenn, and I didn't want to do him like that, so allow him back through, but that does unfortunately put us right down towards the back of the field in this one, both myself and Glenn, so sorry about that, buddy. It wasn't my intention to to try and yeet you off into the grass, but as we move forward here onto the back straight, and the driver that we managed to get past McWhirters throws it up the inside, and in a bit of a bonsai move there, but luckily able to keep slightly better momentum and better line through the chicane and keep the position, or take it back from him rather. And then from there we'll skip forward towards the end of the race, where it was a case of sort of chasing down the pack. It was a bit too separate, and this was going to be for the last position that I could realistically get on the road and try it at McWhirters, but not able to keep the momentum on the exit, allow the move to be, the position to be retaken. But here I wasn't really looking to make the move going into this chicane, but trying to put the driver there with the 44 into a compromised position, and in doing so I was able to carry a bit more momentum around the last part of the chicane, get the drive going down towards the final hairpin of the lap, and then making sure just to keep momentum. There was a fair bit of grip route outside and wide, so took advantage of that grip and then ended up finishing P9, so not a particularly good showing in heat number 2, and I'd be looking to try and get forward, back onto the front foot rather, for heat number 3, where starting towards the back of this one, and as you can see there, that kink left off the start, making it an interesting little start procedure here at Llandow. Again, trying to take advantage of the outside line going through the left-hander of the hook, and this time it pays off a little bit better, able to maintain momentum better than we did in heat 2. Also able to keep a tighter line through the double left, which could have paid dividends, but Dan Grocott there able to cut back, and we had to get out of it to avoid going into the rear of him. As we move forward in this one, you can still see the groups in front nice and tight together. The gaps not really appearing in this one as much as they had in previous races, and tried to do a bit of an Adam Wright of keeping it tight through the left-hander there, trying to get trap position on the kart in front, even though it would be a bit slower, but not quite able to. And as Dan cut back to take that straighter line on the exit, making a little bit of contact, so having to rethink what I'm going to do there to try and get this position through the fast right-hander, which you could take a pretty normal line through, maybe a little bit tighter on the entry than you would do in the drive, but Llandow in general is a very grippy, very abrasive circuit, and it's one that in most places the line doesn't feel too dissimilar to the dry, but the lap times did drop off pretty considerably to the dry running that we had on the Saturday. Moving forwards again, you can see Dan having a bit of a sniff at the driver there in the green helmet in front of us, and in doing so that's compromised his exit speed. I'm able to get out the inside as we go into the right-hander hook, but he's able to keep it on our left. I go deep to try and get that cut back and get squeezed going in towards that kink right. Felt like I deserved a little bit more room than I was given, but we continue onwards, try to go tight into the double left-hander, not going to quite work there. Scott Parker able to take advantage of that, but able to keep it just enough alongside him on the right-hand side to make the position back on Scott. Alexander Lammin having a bit of a sniff as we take the run down towards the fast right-hander onto the tree line straight as we go towards the final chicane of the lap. And you can see through that little squabble, it's allowed this group in front of us to move on and gain a bit of separation. But we skip forward one more time, and we've caught back up to this group. And again, going for that slightly tighter line, not going to work. But the two drivers in front going side by side, really compromised run out of the first chicane complex. I'm able to get around the outside of Dan Grocott, tried to have a think about getting around the outside of the second kart, but nothing doing this time. Little bit of a think, but he's wise to it, keeps it tighter as we go through McWhirters, and not able to put it up the inside there, or not at least without losing a lot of momentum. And that would finish P6 in heat number 3, and that would put us 16th on the grid for the A final. So again, the form really not there, and starting further down the A final grid than I would really like, but regardless of the starting position, it's all about trying to get as forward in these sprint finals as quickly as you possibly can. So looking to try and make a good start here, which we're able to. We get up the inside there, quite a few karts, but it's going to be 3 wide, 4 wide for a moment going through the kink, and that would put us onto the grass. Just too many karts trying to get round that corner, and in order to try and save ourselves from spinning out, we just have to accept that we're going to be on the grass, keep it as straight as possible. And as I rejoin the circuit, that would be stone dead last, 26th in this A final, but able to make a couple of positions back straight away as it gets a little bit argy-bargy from the karts in front, and then another couple of positions look like they're coming our way as we come through the kink, keeping it tighter and throwing it down the inside. But again here, don't want to make it 3 wide going into the chicane complex, but able to keep it tight. Driver in front maybe goes a little bit too quick and not able to keep position quite where they want it. I had a moment there where I thought I was going to be able to carry a bit more speed around the right-hander going onto this back straight, but wasn't quite able to come. And you can see the rain has really started to come down before this final and during it as well. Much wetter, much more spray coming off the rear tyres of these karts, and having to get creative in terms of kart placement so that you can see what's in front of you, but also trying to identify where that grip is. As saying, Llandow quite a grippy circuit, and so there is grip there to be found as I look to progress in this A final to get a bit of damage limitation. 2 drivers there who were definitely not running the fastest line through McVersus, and I'm able to go up the inside of 1, inside of 2, and then the inside of the 3rd. So 3 positions in 2 corners, which isn't a bad go in there, and it's just a shame that it's down towards the back of this final and not towards the front of it. Going towards double left-hander, kart in front of us, I think that's Alexander Lamin again. Goes a little bit wide through the double left, and I'm able to sneak up the inside, keep it tight going into McVersus, and that way I can avoid having it sent back on me at the inside and losing even more time, because obviously every time you go for a overtaking manoeuvre, especially in the wet like this, it is going to cost you time. So obviously you want to move forwards, but you need to do so which doesn't cost you too much at the same time. We finally do pull off the move that Adam Wright was able to put on us earlier in the day during Heat 1, and do so to Glenn Orford, give him the finger of let's move forward, come on, let's see just how far up this finals grid we can get for the result. And that puts us in behind Miguel Hall, who we did the endurance with on the Saturday and putting in very similar times. So I was able to get up the inside of him there, and it's going to be a case of, okay, well, I'm not going to really pull away, I doubt it anyway, and let's see if we can pull him along, break down this gap to the karts in front and keep moving forwards. Got Jonathan Wilson now in front of us, who had a hand up. I think he maybe saw a yellow flag, or thought he saw a yellow flag, but there isn't one, and in doing so able to get a bit closer. But Miguel gets a better run than us coming out of the chicane here onto the back straight, up our inside, and not going to try and fight him too hard, more so accept that he had made the move on us there, and then it was going to be a case of tucking him behind and trying to maintain the speed so that we can keep with the group that we're currently with and try and progress through it. Although this time Miguel gets a little bit sideways, a little bit squirrely as he comes out the hook, not able to carry the momentum that he probably wanted to, and it puts us back in touch with him. And could have had a move going into McVersus there, but again, even if it had come off, it would have left us with more to do again. So chose to stay behind, and it paid off because I was able to get a much better run off of the corner and then able to throw it up the inside, and keeping it tight there was kind of my play in this one. There was a decent amount of grip to be found on the inside, and it also meant that if the kart in front of you did stray wider to try and open up the corner, it wasn't a free position, you still had to make the corner, but it certainly made it a lot easier. Jumping forwards, we've got a gaggle here, and off camera, Adam Wright and I think another car as well, and I can't remember who. They'd had a bit of a coming together. They were running quite well towards the front, but they're now involved in this group, and it's going to get mega spicy. So you've got the recovering Adam Nather and a lot of karts who can smell blood trying to gain those extra positions. It starts getting fighty towards the end of this one. So as we approach McVerters again, we've got Jonathan Wilson in front, and we've had a previous go at trying to get past him here, and this time try it again, and we're still a bit more alongside as we come out, so we carried a bit better speed, and this time he'll also get boxed in a little bit by Mo Hassan, who it looked as though had been compromised going to that corner. We can see Adam Nather there on our outside now. We're too wide going in towards the chicane here. Still too wide as we come through. Can I get up the inside into the right-hander? No, not quite. Had I been able to do so, maybe would have been able to get that other position as well, but instead I feel forced to keep it a little bit tighter on the exit and run towards the right-hand side, going down towards the final hairpin. As you can see, an absolute gaggle of karts who want to take this position off us and try and progress further towards the top 10 for the end of this one, but we're coming on to the last lap now. The karts in front a little bit far away for me to really try and send a move, and it's going to end up being, for the remainder of this lap, trying to keep the very speedy Adam Nather behind us and see if we can take away at least 1 point from him in this final, considering he's had a better day than us during the heats, as we're reasonably close in the championship battle at the moment. Overall, Adam is in C2, even if you could argue he should be in C1, but he's in C2 at the moment, and he is in front of us in the championship standings. Trying to squeeze him, going in towards the final chicane, just about. Both of us able to get through there. Adam taking to the curb, me able to keep just enough momentum to hold it through the left-hander on towards the final straight as well. And speaking to Adam after the race, he was going to try and send a move going into this final hairpin, but just about able to brake as late as I dared and deterring him from doing so. And it'll be a P13 finish as we cross the line. Good little scrap there with Adam at the end, trying to give him a fist bump and failing miserably as we come back and finally get one. There we go. As we finish, and as I said, Adam's still in front of us in the championship there, so it's good to get at least 1 point back on him, and that leaves us in 8th, so we weren't able to progress, but we didn't fall any further down, and it's getting very, very close to the top of that championship as well. It's going to be interesting with these final few rounds to see what happens. Interesting day at Llandow. Maybe not the result that I wanted, but it was good fun regardless, and it's always interesting when the weather turns on us like that. Hopefully it stays dry at Wilton Mill, and until next time, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a good one.